Bitcoin, the world's first decentralized cryptocurrency, was officially created on January 3rd, 2009, when Satoshi Nakamoto mined the Genesis block of Bitcoin, marking the beginning of the Bitcoin blockchain. While Bitcoin has faced numerous challenges over the subsequent years, it has gradually gained in popularity as both a store of value and a hedge against inflation. Bitcoin has incited revolutionary discussions about the future of money and financial systems in relation to blockchain technology. As hodlers of the asset are aware, Bitcoin's growing mainstream acceptance throughout its journey has come hand in hand with significant price volatility, with Bitcoin's dramatic run-ups in price routinely followed by massive corrections. Without fail, it seems, during every one of Bitcoin's corrections and subsequent bear markets, at least one person will tell me that Bitcoin is finished now, suggesting that the only thing left for Bitcoin to do is to crash down to zero, as the entire world now realizes that it is intrinsically worthless, and that the only thing for me to do is to admit that Bitcoin is worthless, and aren't I a dummy for having believed in it? However, during each one of these occasions, I have been able to sleep soundly at night, feeling confident that these naysayers are basically wrong, that Bitcoin is not finished, that it is not about to go down to zero. This is because not only am I a person who believes in Bitcoin in the context of the real world, in terms of its real-world applications and the problems that it solves in relation to the world monetary system, I'm also an astrologer, and so I am able to feel confident in Bitcoin and its long-term future, because I am familiar with the movement of archetypal energies that are coinciding with Bitcoin's rise, and that are playing a part in the landscape of what will be Bitcoin's continued development and integration over time. This is where I'll explain my thoughts on my basic approach to understanding Bitcoin's development from the perspective of astrology. What are the few basic astrological considerations that allow me to understand Bitcoin in the context of where we are astrologically as a planet? And how does my astrological analysis make me confident in Bitcoin's continued adoption and development into the future? It's actually quite simple, really. And while there are potentially many astrological factors that we could look at and spend hours discussing regarding Bitcoin, in this video I'm going to highlight just a few very basic points of astrological data that I am aware of which make me convinced of Bitcoin's staying power as well as of its powerful growth potential. The first thing that makes me not only confident but enthusiastic about the future and the potential of Bitcoin is its inception chart. What about this chart in particular is it that interests me as a signal of Bitcoin being a powerful asset? It's very simple. It's one stellium, one combination of three planets in the same sign, and this is the Sun, Jupiter, and Pluto all together in the sign of Capricorn in Bitcoin's inceptional chart. Now, Sun, Jupiter, and Pluto is a classic planetary combination that signals that this particular asset has powerful growth potential. And why is that? Well, the Sun signifying the intrinsic identity or life force of a thing, Pluto being a planet of overwhelming power and intense transformation, akin to a nuclear reaction, and Jupiter being a planet of growth and expansion, which tends to grow and expand whatever it touches. So what do we get when we have these three planets together in the same sign? Well, we have an asset whose intrinsic identity is characterized by expansive and overwhelming transformational growth. And that's transformation in terms of its own development from something infinitesimally small to something mind-blowingly vast and enormous. It also can refer to the transformation that this entity, known as Bitcoin, is capable of bringing about or facilitating in the world. So Sun, Jupiter, Pluto. Even just having contact between these three planets via one of the classical aspects in an inceptional chart is good. If you look at the inceptional chart of Microsoft Corporation, for example, on April 4th, 1975, you find the Sun and Jupiter in Aries opposing Pluto in Libra. And I think we're all aware of the enormous growth that the Microsoft company has experienced in the subsequent decades since the 1970s. So having these three planets in the same sign is going to be more rare. In fact, the next time that Sun, Jupiter, and Pluto will be together again in the same sign, I believe, will be in January and February of 2033, when they gather together in the sign of Aquarius. So that's all the more reason to view this as a powerful combination which contributes to Bitcoin's enormous growth potential. Again, remember, things characterized by Pluto often literally are related to atomic energy, or they resemble nuclear reactions in the way that they start out microscopically small and explode to a state of overwhelming hugeness. We can see the amplified plutonic nature of Bitcoin's growth in terms of the way that it started out very small, being worth only pennies initially, and has since grown to a price in the tens of thousands of dollars. Not to mention that its price is expected by many to increase even further over the course of the coming bull cycles. So this is the first factor which makes me confident in Bitcoin and its continued performance into the future. The Sun, Jupiter, Pluto stellium in Capricorn in Bitcoin's inceptional chart. The second thing that makes me confident about Bitcoin are a number of different planetary transits that have recently happened or that are currently happening in the sky right now. There's a couple of transits specifically that are setting the stage for interesting new developments in terms of the direction we are headed in the world. One particular transit that has been signaling significant changes and advancements with regard to money is the current long-term transit of the planet Uranus through the sign of Taurus. Uranus during this current transit first ingressed into Taurus on May 15, 2018, and, not counting its retrogrades in and out of the sign, it will leave Taurus for the final time on April 25, 2026. So this transit is covering just a fraction of Bitcoin's entire lifespan, but I believe nonetheless that this is very significant in terms of changes that are happening now and that are likely to be cemented into place and carried through Uranus's journey out of Taurus into Gemini and beyond. So what does this mean? Taurus is a sign that relates not just to money, but to questions of what it is that we value and how we determine what is valuable in the world. Uranus is a bit of a crazy planet. It's a planet of revolutionary change. And so having the planet of revolutionary change moving through a zodiacal sign that relates to money and value structures suggests a revolutionary shake-up in terms of, among other things, world monetary systems, which seems to fit in quite nicely with the story of Bitcoin and its growing adoption as a revolutionary form of money, a decentralized currency, a revolutionary technological invention that allows us to reconceptualize what money is and to think in a new way about what it is that we regard to be intrinsically valuable. One way to understand this in simple terms is by looking at what this same transit has meant in the past. One particular transit of Uranus through Taurus corresponds to the bulk of the California gold rush of the early 1850s. This is a revolutionary time with regards to money, in that many ordinary people were given the chance at gaining vast amounts of wealth, at least the prospect of doing so, by mining a precious metal out of the ground. That is a great sort of analogy for what we're seeing here. The emergence of cryptocurrency in general, in a way, is the new gold rush, the digital gold rush, which of course comes along with a lot of dubious speculation regarding the hordes of altcoins that are continually developed, especially during Bitcoin's bull cycle. But in a positive sense, this is a metaphorical gold rush that offers at least the opportunity for ordinary people to generate some amount of wealth by taking advantage of this revolutionary moment in monetary history. Not only is Uranus a planet of crazy, unexpected change, it also is a planet that can and does at times astrologically seem to represent technology in general, and it seems at times even to be related to computer technology in particular. This is just another reason that this transit is significant with regards to Bitcoin, in that Uranus, the planet of technological advancement, is zapping its way through Taurus, transforming our approach to money and value through the medium of computer technology. Another element we have thrown into the mix here is the fact that Jupiter, planet of growth and expansion, not to mention the planet that traditionally symbolizes money, is also transiting Taurus until May 25th of 2024, which should be around the time of the next halving, as we head closer toward Bitcoin's next bull cycle. What other transits are there that are central to my view of basic confidence in Bitcoin as an asset that isn't going anywhere, at least not anytime soon? Well, there could potentially be a lot of avenues to go down in terms of contemporary planetary transits. However, the one other transit I'd like to highlight that most often comes to mind for me personally is the most recent Saturn-Jupiter conjunction that occurred on December 21st, 2020, in the first degree of Aquarius. This transit happened a while ago now, so it's not one that people are talking about as much these days as they were at the time. However, it is still a very significant conjunction and one that would be beneficial for us to keep in mind. What is it about this conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius that's still significant even though it's been years now that it took place? Well, the big deal about this is that the occurrence of the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in general conveys important information about structural changes that we are headed toward in the development of human society. The occurrence of this important conjunction in Aquarius has ushered in a new era of this conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, now taking place in signs of the air element for the following 139 years. So we have now officially begun this new age, in which air will be the dominant element in relation to major developments and changes in society that we will be seeing for more than a century to come. And what is significant about the air element? As we know, of the four astrological elements, earth, water, fire, and air is the most subtle, quick-moving, and pervasive. And for that reason, air is the element that most basically relates to technology and technological development. Being that air is both invisible and everywhere all at once, it seems appropriate to relate the air element in astrology to the development of computer networks in particular. And so the technological advancements that we're seeing now and that we're going to continue to see over the next 140 years should now be beginning to increasingly transform our world and our lives in extraordinary ways. And of course, things like AI are a part of that. Things like nanotechnology will likely be a part of that. And it's my feeling that cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin play a role in that, as we now move toward integrating our monetary system more fully with computer technology. That's it, just a few points, but each of them is powerful enough to make me confident about Bitcoin and its future. So hopefully this might provide you with some food for thought about Bitcoin from an astrological perspective. Keep in mind that what I'm indicating here are only some of the reasons for why I have faith in Bitcoin as a long-term investment. I'm not saying that Bitcoin is only going to increase in price from this point forward. In fact, there are likely to be future price corrections and resets, similar to what we've seen in the past. That's part of the cyclical nature of a market. And I'm not saying that Bitcoin is going to be around forever. Nothing lasts forever, as much as we might like to pretend otherwise. All that I'm saying is that there is enough astrological evidence for me to personally feel confident that Bitcoin will continue to be a viable investment for at least 10 years into the future, if not longer. Again, this is not financial advice. Just let me know if you can what you think in the comments, and please let me know if you'd like to see any more of this type of content. I can't promise to make everybody happy, but I am open to suggestions. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.